my home was chosen and how lucky I feel. My granddad made a decision to travel all the way from Trinidad by boat, and out of all of the UK, he chose Newcastle, the north. My accent may not show it at times. I can be very well spoken, especially in new company, but get me relaxed and around friends and family and you'll hear it. The place I'm proud to be from. When I close my eyes and I think of home, I think of the river I grew up close to, the one I used to paddle in, my mum teaching me to skim rocks with cold fingers, the northern breeze, becoming a teen and never being off our bikes following the riverbank. There's a place we call the Lines. It used to be a railway line, and the concreted over, so smooth and so flat, it was the perfect path for an easy glide. The sun shining, the blinding twinkle of the rays hitting the river, and the laughter of my friends. I was oblivious then to how much the river time would really mean to me. What makes home to me? Well, it's not the bricks. It's not the swags and tail curtains my mum loves so much. Nor the super-sized sofa I love nothing more than to just chill on with a good British box set. No, it's my family. My Geordie mam through and through. My mam with that beautiful brown skin, the blondest hair, and the truest Geordie accent you can't miss. Seriously. If I was to lose her in the supermarket, all I have to do is listen out for a few words or a giggle and I'll know she's 3 aisles down on the right. You're probably thinking, giggling in the supermarket. Well, 1, it's my mum's happy place, believe me. And 2, we're always laughing. A northern trait perhaps? Or a Byron thing? Family. I think a Byron thing, because we all have the same something throughout us all brought on by a musical note, or a song, or a memory. We're loud, we're dramatic in some way, and we are proud. My mum, she has no voice like no other. She oozes with motivation, a don't give up attitude. She has scars like most of us, but she won't show it. All you see is bravery and strength. She's the fight I have deep down inside of me to be who I want and inspire to be. She's my happy place, my safe place. She's 52 going on 22, and our laughter will fill the whole room. It's contagious. She's contagious. We were actually born on the same day. Well, technically, I was born 2 minutes after midnight. And after all of the hard work from my mum hoping that we'd share this beautiful day together, I managed to grab my own birthday in the last few minutes. But I always say though, we are one. My mum is my Gemini twin. She's my whole world. My nana's house, right opposite Eaton Lane police station. I can hear my nana saying, "See, you'll always be safe here." 3 floors, 4 bedrooms, one of them mine. A huge double bunk with a sofa underneath. My computer, my life as a teenager, in front of me. A window to the left looking out at Nana feeding the birds in the front. The blue light shining in every so often, and the odd siren in the dark. Midnight snacks for friends. Oh, me Nana's bright red cupboard, always stocked with tins. 6 spaghetti, 6 beans, 6 tomatoes, a tin of custard, and traditional biscuits from the Ringtons too, man. The excitement when she would take the tin from the highest shelf, put the cuppa on, and get a pack of playing cards. We'd play patience, switch, gin rummy. Sitting on a chair on top of a cushion at 7 years old, learning from the best player in town, dipping our custard creams. Scrabble was the hardest game to beat my nana at. She used to give me, the 2 and 3 letter card sheets so I could get some points at least. She never went easy on us, and I thank her for that, because I give me mum a good run for our money at gin rummy now. Mum and I left Newcastle to tour a play one year called Don't Forget the Birds. Noticed the similarity going back to seeing my nana outside the window feeding the birds? Well, yeah, me mum does it too. And now me. And you know what? I'll take great pride in being the next in line. So after getting some treats for the journey from Newcastle Central Station to London, we boarded the train, tickets in our hands, we found our seats, window seats, how lovely. As we got further away from Newcastle, I felt nervous. There's so many questions. What about my Chihuahua Dre? My brother Christopher? The cheeky Byron charmer? He's older than me, but I still worry. See, Mum and I may practically share a birthday, but Christopher and my mum, they're the same. Their voices, their wit, even their faces. And if anyone knows my mum and he has my brother out and about, even if they've never met him, they just know that must be Cheryl Byron's son. So I watch out the train window and we're travelling fast, straight down south. The views are amazing. The steady repetitive beats of the train along the tracks almost tranquil. The nerves are turning into excitement, a real thrill. I cannot wait to explore London. I had a piece of home with me. I'm good. London was different. It was fast. Really rushed but stood still at the same time in all that traffic. Plenty of time to take in the views. London was big, huge, eye-catching buildings, history, royalty, culture. It's grand, a great place to visit and experience, but as a true northern girl, it would never be home to me. Newcastle gives me the country and city life within a 40-minute drive. Greenery, grass, fresh air. I took for granted my friendly Newcastle neighbours, the strangers I exchanged smiles and nods with in the street. London, although being warmer than the north, from a community perspective, it felt colder to me. We were concerned that the northern humour wouldn't quite land with the southern audience, but we had nothing to worry about. We were all welcomed and everyone laughed and cried along with us and applauded. It was phenomenal. London gave us a real accomplished feeling. We celebrated and we headed back to the place that we called home for the week and had our last curried goat. The journey home, sad to leave, but excited and ready to see Newcastle again. What have I missed? What is the first thing I would like apart from a Greggs to soak up the celebratory drinks from the night before? My dressing gown. My unusually warm house like the desert itself. Fingers crossed my brother put the heating on. So I'm sitting on the train, and after a hard-working, fantastic tour, I'm tired. I'm uncomfortable. I'm thinking about how excited my dog Dre's going to be when he sees us. Checking the time, wishing and hoping it away just to be reunited with my sofa again. And there it is. You feel it before you see it. The train bends, and then lit up beautifully in the dark as all the bridges about to line up perfectly parallel across the River Tyne. There it is underneath me, the glisten of the river reflecting the lights of the city, just like the sun lit up the currents of the river when I was a little girl. The moment I realised the River Tyne is home to me. Newcastle is a place I treasure, my life's memories so far. But to me, as you can probably tell, because it is all I have spoken about, my home is my family, the place that I am from.
Little Apricot is born, conceived during a war. Hair made of gold, with ice blue eyes, and a skin with a shade of way, way, way. Born without a home, with nowhere to go, she drifts and sits in any takeout restaurant that'll let her pass the time. On a worn-out pink lane that once had a shop front that has now long been replaced. Her shadow is still ingrained. It's cold up north, but she banishes the grim. And when there's no warm bath to warm your frozen bones, this window will do to watch the world go by. A world of flares and fur and the gamblers and glamour. She gazes out from that familiar spot that's more home than home, feeling alone, but she is made of stronger stuff, built with diamonds, uncut, rough. The sky is grey and the wind bites hard, and still she manages to burn. A light left on in that window to guide you home, and it's always left on, even now. This glowing flame within little Apricot will never go out, even though there is no one to feed the flame. She was born lost forever, with nothing to look back at, so she can only look forward. But to what? An instinctive concern for the future echoes in her tummy, so she decides to plant a seed in a piece of ground that we all seem to need. This piece of ground lies not too far from that window, in a new town that's sparkling and bright, with not a traffic light in sight. But within the shiny exterior, there are beasts that crawl from the grave on a night, hounds of hell that patrol the streets, and trolls under every underpass. Nevertheless, she plants her flag. When little Apricot plants the seed, she has no home of her own. Not much, nout. So she has to use what she can find to feed her little sprout. She stumbles across a hound from hell. It's dead. But she carefully takes its heart and lungs and muscle and bones and places them in a safe way carrier bag. A scrap of an England shell suit. 2 left trainers, 1 feeler, 1 Nike. Wings of a magpie. Northumberland pipes, a beloved 9-carat gold earrings, only the best for her little seed. She buries it all around the little seed, whilst the flying pickets sing Only You on the radio. She cuts some of her golden hair and sprinkles it on top and waters it in baby sham. Little Apricot cares for the seed, having never learned what she lived, yet still it thrives in this unpredictable land. That little seed reaches for the sun while its roots dig down and belong and are planted and connect and reflect. Apricot looks at a little seed, a reflection of herself, with golden hair but emerald eyes. Little seed is fast and strong and loved. She can play and run and sing. She has trainers on her feet to help her jump high, clothes made of the brightest colours and the noisiest fabric, so you can always hear her coming. Her voice is loud and strong. She's a warrior that will fight anyone that threatens her home. And little Apricot watches little seed from the window, but this window is now her home. In that very soil, and the place Apricot and seed called home, for £5,000 a flat can be bought. £5,000. That soil was once ruled by packs of dogs. Seed grew having to navigate the rabbit warren of the streets to avoid the chase. Those hounds of hell now banned in the UK, latchkey freedom that gave seed the edge of hard independence. That was learned through having to have immaculate peripheral vision, to preempt being savaged by a pack of hungry discarded beasts. The thrill of the chase cementing her. Seed grew strong in a community stolen, colonised land where in the past natives wore gules and chief and mullets as a symbol of their place in the world, proud. Seed was forced to sing to the tune of Winter Wonderland. No longer a town, a place that's renowned. We all belong to Sunderland. But Seed didn't. Now you imagine those £5,000 dwellings must surely be burnt out, derelict, a shell that needs renovation. But no, it's a home, ready to go, advertised on a property website, a great investment. And the inhabitants will decide to flee or stay. A choice that's hard to make, because amongst the glass underfoot and the sweet smell of urine in the stairwell, there is rich, comforting, colourful life in a community, a sense of belonging. Although Seed flew away because little Apricot gave her some wings, she is not Jonathan Livingston. She's a Geordie racer, that will always find our way home to Apricot. Flying free, flying high, flashing wings across the sky. Apricot gave Seed a plastic ring to wear. No, it's not a tag. The government jewellery to let others know that she's trouble, although she might be. It's a delicate anklet that displays her ID. If she gets lost, she can be directed back to Apricot. Little Apricot watches Seed grow and feels proud when she opens her mouth so the world can hear the small pipes that she gave her. Seed has a voice that longs for others to hear. Her wings are strong, and her voice so loud Seed struggles to keep it in. Seed feels like she will burst. She feels bigger than her size 5s, nowhere to put it. So she has to hide it way down, bottle it up until the time is right. But Seed is made of those same rough diamonds and the fierce dog that roam. And Apricot made sure she had a home to fly from. So she uses her voice to tell her story. So come, hear her in all her glory. Seed's memories flash flood, like coal in her blood. Way back, long ago, memories lost now like Jane Doe. Seed is born in the world, a little lass, already on the back foot because of her class, where hope is a word that so many utter, but don't know where to find it in this forgotten gutter. But it's there to be found, Seed, this isn't your lot, and it's down to the likes of little Apricot. Thatcher, milk snatcher, Bojo on the road to Matcher, a warm hand to hold, plated fingers of gold, cap a top to wear, a uniform to bear, bought in Geordie jeans, first day of school before teens, BMX pull a wheelie, a Christmas trip watching Brendan Healy, hormones kicking, Seed's getting older, Apricot still trying to mould her. By the grove as she grew, feeling safe, watching Lou. 2's on a tab that Seed longs to have, fighting with her bros Undertaker, in awe of his skills on the Sega. A bottle to share so she forgets her cares, a smoke screen to hide her vulnerable side. From kind tab lady, an entrepreneurial war baby, a turn on the swing on the park with him. Night airs pounding the path, hop, skip, jump, laugh. Smell of Yorkies, Sunday day. Povy man kept at bay. Argos page, circled ink. Family finance on the brink. Seed venturing out into the world. Independence and dependent lines start to blur. A 25p, a transfer. For her Metty chauffeur. South Shields the end of the track, ride again just for the crack. Roast chickens, Sunday dinner, return to Apricot in the winter. Sound of glass underfoot. Through the flats down the cut. Sea salt clings on skin, monkey's blood with her kin. Seed starts to find our healed feet, and from Apricot she begins to retreat. The new monkey beats, whispers round through the streets, not near enough cash to go out on the lash, lusting after crispy perm that made soft appear firm. Superdrug war paint with a fear of constraint. A wonder bra in a big market bar. Too thick skin to wear a coat. On the big market, hear your groat. Hacky looks, pure fierce, that are used to transpierce. Swapping the best of our clothes. Later, sharing our woes. Sailing down Lordburn, in pocket day return. Flag down 194, root ingrained on a course. Sun in field, dye her hair, trying to look like Donna Air. On Pink Lane, late night pasty, sausage rolls filled with nasty. Lindisfarne, beat the tide, twat the car, go joyride, close her eyes. January song, still run for home where she belongs. Billy and Ray sing whole story, middle digit salutes every Tory. Nesting in the Great Wall of Byker, plastic hands formed at Formica. A theatre at first sight, her future passage of right. She's feeling lost, unfamiliar, drowning in the big river, longing hard to escape so she doesn't suffocate. Seed flies off with wings spread from this home that she fled, watching Laura and Hardwick. Their Geordie tone makes Seed homesick. Toon's own community excavators reflected on stage by dad and daughter platers. Folk flocking for the Great North Run, Mo Farah, still number one. The Green Steel Exhibitioner, North to South Bridge, still Seed's signature. Friends, now long apart, once mended Seed's broken heart. Remembering Apricot, her love and care, what's important, who, where. Now a woman, solid and strong, Seed craves for Apricot where she belongs. Full circle, now she comes back to the home where she is from. To familiar swallow hand tattoos, wearing Jimmy's crocodile shoes. Guitars, proud, held in hand, owning the streets of Seed's land. Nuki Brown, Geordie nectar, taste a tune purely belter. Two magpies fly in the sky, below forever Geordie's tongue tie. Voices floating on the air, 49,000 declare. Like our Geordie racer, Seed now turns to face her. From affection, hinny to pet, that's our own Juliet, our A1 angel. There she stands, watching over Seed's mighty land. Pub to pub, coastline bender, low light served by some fender. Boarding a train, West Pub crawl, not even a look to the ancient wall. Geordie's celebrity artfulness, breeding social arsonists. Our history clinging onto reality TV in the Geordie shores of the Black North Sea. Reflecting, needing a bounce back. Seed is restored by the middens black. She remembers Spuggy, red curls as shield. Shows Seed our own battlefield. Mirrored reflection of Metroland goes to Bairns hand in hand. Wearing flat caps of the past, nothing more than typecast. Her community is beyond that perception, an outdated conception. Blood is thicker than water for this homegrown daughter. And Apricot still sits looking through the glass and proud that she made her little lass. She gave her a name that rooted that seed. She called her Way after an elite breed. And over time, people shortened Way to just I, a familiar term for this eye of the time. This story of Seed, who is I, who is me, and because of Apricot I sit here free. One northern soul story of survival, but still too many apricots still having to break a cycle. Now I say, now I'm grown, this magical place I call home. Little Seed is me, little apricot is man, where our home is yem. Come to where I am.
Got no intention of resting. We don't do that in the West End. Except when I'm supposed to be in college. Then it's, sorry I slept in, or sorry I dropped out. I spend every day in my mom's house, doing shows for small crowds. So I'm getting kicked out because we're too loud.
Go out there and make some friends. I think the first time somebody told me that I was around 7 years old. It was my mum. My brother, who was 4 years older than me, was sick of me hanging around him all the time, so I was instructed to go out into the area I lived in and find friends of my own. This is a part of nearly everyone's life, a supposed to be simple thing everyone goes through to learn the skills they need as an adult to socialise and be personable. There were two things standing in my way. The first was the brand new park that had been built across the street from my house. It was the place I wanted to play. But it was across a busy road, and someone had been shot at there a few days earlier. I didn't really understand that as a kid, but it was the first time I ever recognised the place I lived as a dangerous place. A memory my mum reminds me of all the time is when a young girl I knew from school who lived near me came to see if I was playing out, and my mum told her no, because it wasn't safe. And this little girl confidently proclaimed, "Don't worry, my mum told me if I hear gunshots, I just need to duck." Safe to say my mum didn't go for that. The second barrier was my skin. My mother is white and my father is black, which I quickly figured out makes me black. Every time me and my brother stepped out of the house, someone had a name for us or wanted to fight with us, because it just wasn't common. And by wasn't common, I mean we were the only ones. I was 11 years old before I even came into contact with another black family, and they were the only ones in their neighbourhood too. I was an outsider. The simple childlike joy of going out and making friends came with anxiety and fear. Now that didn't mean I didn't make friends. I did. I've always been tough like that. I don't care what people have to say about me. And after my fair share of fights, they didn't speak that loud anyway. I valued my Rye Hill friends growing up, the ones who looked past my skin colour and saw the person. But at the end of the day, we didn't have much in common other than the place we lived. And the place we lived was a breeding ground for crime, drug abuse, and teenage pregnancy. And as an adult, I've watched a lot of people I knew go down those paths, and some of them didn't survive. As a kid, I didn't know where the people I was hanging around with were headed, but I knew it wasn't where I wanted to go. So when the chance to go to a high school 2 buses away from where I lived came about, I jumped at it. Now, it doesn't seem like the heights of wanderlust to go to a high school an hour away, but despite living in Newcastle all my life, I'd never even been to Gosforth. So to me, it was an adventure. Go to school and make some friends. I'd already been to another high school by the time I went to Gosforth. The first time around, the whole making friends thing didn't go well, and I'd been bullied. I reacted to the bullying the same way I had grown up, and that was by fighting. This made things a lot worse, and I left. I was out of school for about 2 months. I missed school a lot during that time. I've always loved solving problems, I've always been a writer, so I thrived in education and mostly got really good grades. After a while of having idle hands, I went to Gosforth. It was around this time I'd started doing music more seriously. I'd been writing rap since I was 6 years old, and just before I went to Gosforth, I'd had my first ever performance, which was actually an audition for Universal Music, the record label. I wasn't what Universal were looking for at the time, but being an artist was giving me confidence. It was my second day at Gosforth. I'd told some people I rapped and ended up getting mobbed by my year 8 class and asked to rap for them. I did, and it made me popular. People wanted to be friends with a rapper. It was that simple. This was amazing, and to be honest, it was the start of me becoming the person I am now, a performer. I was loving it at Gosforth, and as the years went by, I was making a success of my time there. In year 10, I was even predicted all A's in my GCSEs. But there was still something missing. I was still the only black kid in most rooms. Though in high school, I wasn't bullied for it. I don't even think most people in school even realised or cared about my race, but my difference did pop up in strange ways. Sure, most of them didn't like the same movies or music as me, but it was less about being black and more about me growing up poor. The kids I was hanging around with didn't have to worry about rent or gas and electric bills. They could ask their parents for money for clothes and didn't have holes in their shoes. I remember once it was raining hard after a detention I'd got for being late. Lateness was my only problem in high school because of how far away I lived, and because of who I am as a person. I came out of the school building and I was the only one around. I changed my shoes from my school shoes that had holes in the soles to my PE shoes so my feet couldn't get wet. A teacher saw me and told me I needed to change my shoes back to my school shoes. I asked him why. He said, "Don't argue with me, go back into the school and change your shoes." I said, "What? So you're just going to stand there and watch me walk back in there and walk back out?" I wasn't having that, so I just walked away from him. In my mind, school was over, so I was going to wear whatever I wanted. But to him, I was still on school property, so I needed to do as he said. As I was walking away, he shouted that there would be consequences. I didn't care. My feet were dry. The next day, a different teacher came to collect me from the class and put me in isolation all day. He didn't even come and get me himself. I can identify that as the moment I lost my love for education. It seemed like a petty thing, but the place I grew up instilled in me a deep disdain for disrespect and people who try to lord their authority over you. I know that's a fancy way of saying I don't like people telling me what to do, but it was deeper than that. As a 15-year-old kid, I took it very seriously, and I honestly never looked at school the same after my day in isolation. Lateness suddenly wasn't my only problem. My grades dropped, I came off as distracted at my best and rude at my worst, and soon enough, I knew I wasn't going to sixth form. As the end of high school loomed, I escaped into my music. I wasn't going the same way all my friends were. They wanted to go and get degrees. Growing up, I'd never even met anyone who'd been to university. I didn't even say it as an option. I was looking at applying for jobs and writing some raps. And by the time I was around 15, I was recording and performing all the time, so a career in music was fine by me. I was making a name for myself making music at a local charity building that had a studio in it. Because of that, I'd started getting messages from people who wanted to make music with me. I linked up with a few people and we made some songs. We formed a group and started calling ourselves Team Pride. When it came time to make our first ever music video, me and the other members linked up with a talented videographer who was just starting out at the time. He told us if we were going to make a good video, we needed dancers. That's when I met Mimi and Marshall. Mimi was from Tanzania and Marshall from Zimbabwe. That video turned into another video, and soon enough we were linking up when it wasn't even about music. I met another talented artist, Igor from Portugal, at a party, and that was the gang. I didn't know it at the time, but they were going to be my best friends, almost like family, and to this day, we're all close. Of all the wonderful things music has given me, I thank it most for that. I was very lost growing up in a city where I always had to be the odd one out. Sometimes standing out was fun, but fitting in also has its appeals when you're an insecure teenager. Music showed me a side of Newcastle that I didn't know existed, and it seemed like no one else did either. People paint the north as all white. My group was not the stereotypical image of a group of kids living in Newcastle, just like I wasn't. It made me proud that we were all living in this place and denying that stereotype simply by existing. When I'm with the gang, I'm an individual, not a colour or a class. I don't feel judged for the way I talk, the way I dress, the way my hair is. I feel celebrated and proud to be black in Newcastle. Nowadays, 2020, Newcastle is known as multicultural. It's a hub for students, and even in Rye Hill where I grew up, there's more than one black family. It's amazing how quick things have changed. When I first linked up with my gang, we would protect each other, always on guard for someone who might say something. That's why we call ourselves gang, because that's what we were seen as. None of us are criminals. We're musicians and painters and dancers and actors, but that didn't matter. They saw what they saw, so we embraced it. We're the gang. Now, I've seen hundreds of different groups from different places. True diversity. Even the gang has grown. We've met more and more like-minded, brilliant people, like Kay, an actor and rap artist who's all about inspiring the world. And he's been making music since I was a kid, and I've always looked up to him. It offends me that people see Newcastle as anything other than brilliant people like him, and others that I've met on my journey. I doubt it's ever occurred to most people what a lack of diversity can do to kids who aren't white. To them, it's a non-issue, and that's because they've never had to think about their skin colour excluding them from something. To me, it was an everyday issue. I'm very excited to be able to share this side of my hometown with others, and hopefully through my music, share it with the world, because it's beautiful. And it's something that the kid who grew up on an all-white street, fighting, getting called names and picked on for afro hair, didn't think she'd ever be a part of. Got no intention of resting. We don't do that in the West End. Except when I'm supposed to be in college. Then it's, sorry I slept in, or sorry I dropped out. I spend every day in my mom's house, doing shows for small crowds and getting kicked out because we're too loud. I fought my way out of the crisis. Now we got prices. But the nights outside the off-license, they were priceless. That's where I learned all my vices. I think about it as I type this. The drunk dude who choked in his sleep. He lived 2 doors down on my street. Look, I've never been to a wedding. In fact, I don't know any couples. So when you ask me where we're heading, my head just gets in a muddle. You say that I'm scared of commitment. No, I'm just scared there's a difference. Because everybody said I was gifted. And when they first said that, it shifted. But I still ain't got no cash. 1 bad month and I'm out on my ass. Anxiety fires me. I don't come last. Demons inside of me fighting me. You ought to be sick of this crap. It ought to be different than that. But I've still got bars. So I'm still in a prison. I can't do nothing but spitting. I can't give you nothing. It's business. For really, I live it. I learned from 50 and Eminem. Bluetooth and songs to all my friends, learning the lyrics to Lose Yourself till I knew it was something I'd do myself. Now look around, man, it's true as hell. I'm styling on you, and you as well. I'm checking my age like the new Adele, man. I'm young as hell, I'm fresh as hell. I've been to hell, I came back as well.
So I read somewhere once that when you leave home, you never quite feel the same about where you come from. You've got two homes. Your heart belongs in two different places. It's got two different lives, but it settles fully in neither. You become torn between past comforts, the smell of Sunday veg boiling on the hob, a house so pristine it could have its own double-page spread in Hello magazine, and the sanctuary of the humdrum and the norm. But the temptations of new adventures, new friendships and new loves threaten who you once were, but offer everything that you want to be. My mum says to us, when you're 18, you're out that door working. And I like the idea of fending for myself. Common sense has never come easy to me, so university seemed like the obvious choice. The University of Liverpool, why not? The picture on the front of the glossy prospectus looks swanky, suave, bright lights of a metropolis reflecting a perfect image of itself onto the River Mersey. That'll do. I give it as much thought and preparation as any other decision I make as my 17-year-old self. I judge it completely on how it looks. So I'm sitting at a single desk in an old sports hall. The smell of rubber, basketballs and school dinners mixed with the smell of chip fat and disinfectant. I scribble exam answers down furiously, jaw clenched, heart pounding. I give a nod to the sky. Hi, it's me again. Please let me pass. Please let me get out of my hometown. And then I'll be really good. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to stop smoking. I won't swear. And I'm not going to be cheeky to me mum. Thanks, amen. The setting isn't too inspiring, but I always get a real sense of comfort from that haggard old school. Like little pockets of happiness penetrate the angst and embarrassment of being a gawky, skinny teenager, wearing far too much collar eyeliner and avoiding the horror of the school bus ride home at all costs. On sunny days, rays pour through the chipped single glazed windows to warm me skin and shines a spotlight on the chalky dust particles floating in the air like fireflies doing a waltz. And for a fleeting moment, despite feeling completely overwhelmed and bewildered by Mr. Spencer's trigonometry lesson, I feel inspired. So my prayers and sincerest promises were answered on that tumultuous exam day because I've made it all the way to Liverpool. And I guess you could say that although I was raised in Newcastle, Liverpool is where I grow and where I learn all of life's lessons. It's a white knuckle ride of an education, holding on for dear life, overwhelmed by waves of doubt. Expectation is like bearing down on me like an unforgiving tide. I should have prepared more for this course instead of jumping into a law degree. I know nothing about the law apart from how to break it. You'll need to lose your accent if you want to make it in this field. What did she say? Sorry, can you repeat that? Tell me, what does it feel like to be working class? I've never been more way of class in my life. I mean, how do you answer that? Well, you know, it was tough in the mines. We lost a few canaries, but we managed to pull through, thanks. This was a mistake. I'm packing up and I'm going home. But maybe I should just give it a year. From Tyne to Mersey, I hate the long train journeys and the bus ride back to whatever house I'm sharing, packed onto a dusty, hot number 86 double-decker with all my worldly belongings, excusing me very presence to fellow passengers. I just miss home. I'm an alien visiting another planet 172 miles northwest on the M62. But with the pace of change, there's freedom and excitement. The hazy summer afternoons on Hardman Street, the smog and fumes bound together by sunshine to make the city air sticky and electric. St. Luke's Church, once blitzed, lends its ghostly bombed-out frame to the city's bohemians. Its pulpit a DJ stand, its pews a food market. Its congregation of the young and the hopeful are breathing life through a sermon of laughter into the once fallen soldier. Its derelict ruins resurrect as a playground. And I guess that's where I worship, where I go to heal my wounds with lager and shots. I'm seeking refuge in the community of we all don't have a clue. Pray for forgiveness for whatever I did the night before, and give thanks to God that tomorrow no one's going to remember anyway. The people of Liverpool say, we're so familiar, we're so similar, Geordies and Scousers. Assumed affinities form easy friendships. And yet, that familiar subtle pang, one hand grips onto the memories of Sunday dinners and chalky classroom nostalgia. But I'll just give it one more year. So I'm working hard to carve a life. The roots that are searching to plant eventually find a safe place to grow in friendships and in classrooms. Defiantly, I'm holding on to the fragile foundations of my world, the one I've made, the one I've chosen. Panicked parents try to keep me steady. You know, the tears, the tantrums, the absolute despair. Oh, just come home. No, that's not the answer. I am fine. I won't be beaten. I'm pretty naive and trying to prove a point. So Liverpool wins the European Capital of Culture in 2008, beating Newcastle, how ironic. And the city blossoms and grows over that decade, and I grow with it. I'm so proud to be an honorary Scouser. The glimmering light of the docks twinkle and flirt with the pink night sky, and dance to the sea of tourists, and the city booms. Balmy summers along the Strand, 3 Graces stand tall, and liver birds watch over a city once made destitute by politics, but now they've conquered all of Europe and they are never going to stop. And still, I long for my own hometown glory. I miss the familiar faces, the no questions asked friendships. Pints with the lads in dark and dingy pubs. Sticky floors and freezing cold toilets. $3.99 bottles of wine, buy one get your hangover free. Walking home on wobbly legs. The night air so bitter cold, my breath would form white clouds and linger on with the smell of cigarette smoke, slurred words and giggles. But Liverpool always tempts me back. I trip over roots breaking free from the ground below roads unadopted. Come on, just one on the lane. Turns quickly into 6 a.m. sunrises on cobbled streets. I'm having a ball, I've got a decent job and I'm settled. So visits back home are less needed. And when they are, things are just as I left them. So back in the car I go, safe in the reassurance that those welcoming smiles and warm embraces will be waiting to get the round in next time. I'll give it at least another couple of years. And I do. 10. I'm really finding my feet in Liverpool's historic streets. I've got a place in a great city, the city with 2 cathedrals joined by a street called Hope. I walk on its dry, dusty, muddied earth, autumn leaves crunching underfoot alongside grand Victorian buildings, and I fall in love in its bustle and bars. It's my haven. But dramas at home unfold, and those who've stayed deal with the blows. And I whisper a hurried goodbye and say, I've got to go, I'll speak to you later, I'll give you a call. And I scurry off in denial, in a state of euphoria, back to my bubble. But the fabric starts to wear, and slowly and steadily the elastic, stretching so tight, threatens to snap. And the cracks that I'm pasting over time and time again, it can't sustain a superficial and tired hold. And then that phone call. Mum's in hospital. Maybe I should have given it one less year. I remember when I was 7 or 8, I learned to ride my bike up and down that back lane. The sun beaming, the smell of fish and chips from the chippy would make me mouth water. Stabilisers off. Don't let go, Dad, please don't let go. I won't, I promise. Then away, yahoo, straight into the road. I'm not stopping, I can't stop. My dad's running behind us. God, come back, your mum will go mad if you get run over. Probably should have had a lesson on brakes first. But we did it. When I was 19, I passed my driving test. I didn't tell anyone. I came home. Dad was in the back garden cutting the trellis. I've passed my driving test, bursting through the doors. He picked us up, swung us round. Is there anything you can't do? 3 weeks later, Mum, I've bumped the car. The fireman had to roll it off the road. It was completely totaled. A grey mica crushed like an old tin can. Oops. It had a full tank of petrol, obviously. We've lived in that house for as long as I can remember. That double bed like a cloud offering a safe haven from life's quick-drawn punches. Always there whenever I needed it. Those voices at the end of the phone, worried sick but pushing me on. Proud parents say things like, I just don't know where you get it from, Charlotte. And do you know what? I've got no idea personally either, but I just don't think I'd have it if it wasn't for that house. That immaculate house with its love and its rules and its gentle guidance. Put the towel down on the bath before you have a shower, man. How many times do I have to tell you? Why is it like a swimming pool every time I come in here after you? No hair in the kitchen, Charlotte. I do not like hair in the kitchen. Yeah, you brought your hair net, love. I mean, who does that? Carpet's so clean you can see the Hoover tracks. We have literally learned to hover in our house. The push, the pull, the love, the fighting. Bowie, Dylan, Stipe, Celine bloody Dion. Some unfortunate harmonica lessons. Have you ever been sacked by your own dad? But that smell of fish and chips on a warm, sunny afternoon. It's priceless. 2 beautiful cities, 1 proud heart. I'll never walk alone.